Good morning and welcome to our sunrise morning chat here on Giving Tuesday. I haven't been up this early. If you don't know who I am, first of all, my name is Greg Wasinski. You might just be traveling by our Faith and Real Life Ministries page or on our personal page. And we're getting ready for Giving Tuesday. So we're doing all day programming all day long. To my right, your left, however this thing is mirroring, is my wife, Amy. And then to the opposite side is Libby Peterson, event coordinator here at Let Me Be Ministries. So good morning. It's good to see you. I'm going to turn on the comments in case any of y'all want to say something fun this morning. Be nice. Be nice. Jesus is watching. But I just figured we'd start out today. You know, normally we do our morning show at 7:30 in the morning. And I thought, hey, I want to do something early for all those people that never get to see us, because everybody has jobs that start at different times. And pandemic, we started later because people were sleeping in, but other people now have to go to work earlier. So, yeah, so this is, if you haven't seen this before or been with us before, since March 16th, we have done morning shows, and we're well over 200 different morning shows of coffee and conversation. And it has been life-changing in some ways. What I just wanted to ask Amy and Libby, like, what has been one of your favorite parts in this crazy year? But even though that we've changed the way that we had to do ministry because of live events being gone, like, what has been like one of the neatest things for you this year?
Well, we were talking about it last night. I think you and I have gotten to be part of the ministry more so this year than any other year. Sometimes I get to travel with Greg, you know, here and there, depending on how close it is or whatever. But this year, ministry's been right here in the house.
as Bailey eats at our feet right now.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and she's eating the wrong food, but that's okay. But I think so. So then, with that, you have volunteered a lot of your time to tape masses at our parish, at our home parish, because you have the skills. And I do, because you know what? It's really good. If you've never tuned in, holyangels.church.com, on Sundays, we have mass recordings, and Greg has been recording. We do a couple at one time, and then he edits them. And you know, you had the skills and you were available, obviously, because of the pandemic. And so you were able to volunteer your time. And so, much
to my own dismay.
I know. But really, you've got an eye for that. And it's a skill that maybe you hadn't, you know, obviously done a lot with. I mean, you've done some with for the videos for Let Me Be in Ministries. But really, they have evolved and are really, I think, nicely done. So if you ever get a chance to watch or need to watch a mass, want to watch a mass, Greg has a great eye for trying to help us stay focused throughout the mass. And I really love that. So
maybe an Emmy. I'm just, that's
Do
one
they
thing
have
I
those
never,
in
yeah,
ministry?
I never thought I'd win an
Mass
Emmy.
Emmys?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. I like it.
Catholic
An
Emmys.
Emmy for production. I do want to give both Amy and Libby credit because they both did not agree to get up at 4:45 this morning to be on television.
Yeah.
However,
We just did.
I just kind of sprung it on them and said, "Hey, did you see the schedule that it starts
Yeah.
at 6?"
I didn't know until I heard him telling someone, and he's like, "Oh yeah, we start at 6 a.m." I'm like, "Oh,
Well, no, I was just saying this morning as I was getting ready. I said, because when you take a flight at 6 a.m., you get up at 3:30. You got to get ready. You go to the airport, which is about 45 minutes away.
Do you remember the last day we did that?
I do, and then we flew home 12 hours later.
In case anyone's curious, it was Friday, March 13th.
Yeah,
Friday the
2020.
13th.
But yeah, so
2020.
you get up early and you take these flights. But no, I was just laughing because I was thinking about that. I'm like, I have not had to do that since March 13th.
Yeah.
The earliest you've had to get
yeah.
up is 7.
I don't miss that part. I will say that. But
After this morning, we don't miss that part.
that's right. Libby,
Yeah.
what do you? What size you?
So my
Let's turn this a little bit and give you a little bit more.
that's all right. I know. I was trying to see how I
There you
can
go.
awkwardly
This
not.
thing is stuck. We're gonna go this.
Oh, all right, it's stuck.
All right.
My favorite part of I think 2020, so March until now, has been watching the Faith in Real Life Coffee and Conversation community grow.
Mm.
Not only just grow in size and volume of people, but grow in faith together, and just be there for each other. People that don't live even close to each other, people that have never met each other in person, have become this tight-knit group of prayer warriors, of spreading the message, of just seeing people's lives change in a positive way in the midst of something that most people would say is chaos. I mean, it is chaos, but to see that where you turn your heart to and what you focus on, and how those people have grown, and how they've changed my life just personally, being a part of that journey. I've always said that being a part of the people we minister to's journey is something that gives me life and keeps me going all the time.
Right. Well, and that's been probably one of the hardest parts in ministry this year. If you're just joining us, welcome to our morning sunrise broadcast, an early edition of Coffee and Conversation for this Giving Tuesday, as we celebrate Giving Tuesday for the ministry. I made it 7 minutes and 55 seconds without asking for a donation since we started. So
That's all right. That's
but
all
if you'd
right.
love to give, the easiest way is to go to faithinreallife.com, click on the donate button, or if you're part of the Cleveland scene and you're part of the We Give Catholic, you go to wegivecatholic.org and click on Faith in Real Life, or search for Faith in Real Life.
Search for Faith
And you
in
can
Real
be
Life.
part of the contest, and we can win amazing prizes.
All day long. We can
All
win
day
prizes.
long.
So your donations, no matter what time they are, so no matter what time you're watching this, they all make a difference.
Amy's very serious about this. We're on different teams today.
It's all right. It's all right.
But it's all for Jesus. We're
It
on
is all.
Jesus's team.
Really, that's, you always say we're all just walking each other home. And really, in the end, it's really the same thing. We're all on the same
That's
team.
it.
We all want to help inspire people, whether you're, working at a parish or whether you're in a ministry. The idea is to try to help people grow in their faith in whatever way.
So here's my idea. We put all the money in the pot and then we split it.
I like it. I like it. It makes it fair for everybody, right? Oh, good morning.
Good
Look,
morning.
Carrie. Good morning, Carrie.
It's funny that the part of all of this is that when we get together, when we have the opportunity to share ministry from home, you kind of get to see what our real life is like. So a lot of the stuff, as a presenter or as an author, you're telling stories about things that you've learned, and you have time to process them, and you think about what you're laying out. But I think for me, 2020, in all of the media work that we've ended up doing, is that people have gotten to see some really raw moments. People, as a matter of fact, I didn't always like it. like I felt very vulnerable in the sense that there were times where I was not ready for to share my story with people. However, 2020 has kind of forced me to do that. I've always kind of been an open book, but at the onset of all of this and some different events that have happened out throughout this year, that if you have been part of the different broadcasts and what we've done, you know that we've had some interesting events this year in our lives. So, that's been a really different way of processing it for me. So, one of the aspects that I wanted to talk about this morning is in our Advent series that we're on day 3, and everything relates to the readings and what we're talking about. And so today's word in the video series is childlike. I feel like I'm on an airplane and I got the middle seat.
And you did.
The big guy that gets the middle seat.
Yeah.
Although it's not a bad spot to be right now.
Hey, in this case, you get the biggest part of the video.
Yeah, right.
I know I'm going to get to my Advent series in a second, but let's talk about airplanes for 1 minute. There is no more good seat. I just want you to know that if you sit on the aisle, people have lost the ability to walk down an aisle without smashing into you as they go to get whatever they're getting. If you're against the window, it's a very cold window. And if you're in the middle, well, then
you're in the middle.
You're in the middle. And it's like getting a hug for an hour and a half.
Or 4. But
we haven't flown, obviously, but a middle seat probably isn't around these days.
Right.
COVID times.
That's true.
There's probably no middle seat.
How do you stay 6 feet apart on an airplane?
Yeah, well, you don't.
You don't. They just clean it more.
They do every other row, and you can only have people sitting on either window seat.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Probably not, but I don't know. We should.
Yeah.
If you've flown during the pandemic, let us know how it goes.
They're all dead. Right.
No, they're not.
No.
Good morning, Casey.
Yeah. Good morning.
I think I said good morning to Carrie too.
Yeah. So, but the word to get back on track, the word this morning in the video series comes from Luke's gospel today, that, we're supposed to have this childlike faith. And the word childlike is interesting for a lot of different reasons, but this is one of those words that when we say childlike, that people don't like that word because it means oftentimes that you're naive, or that you're going to be taken advantage of, or something like that. If I were to say to an adult, be childlike, think about childlike wonderment. So many people don't want to hear that because it's like, well, I'm not letting anybody take advantage of me, or I'm not going to go along with things just because somebody said. And while that's true, we forget 2 aspects of childlike faith. Childlike faith allows us to see things with wonder and awe. Like when we were kids during Christmas season, during a time of Advent, there is the opportunity for all of us to think about what it was like when we were kids and we saw this season that just brought so much joy to our hearts. And so this is the kind of faith, this comes from Luke's Gospel, chapter 10, verses 21 to 24. And I just love when he says, I give you praise, Father, Lord of heaven and earth, for although you have hidden these things from the wise and the learned, you have revealed them to the childlike. So somebody said earlier that many of the things that we're seeing out in the world are what has played out in the Bible, or what the Bible has really said. That is true. The Bible it's a book of revelation. It's the story from the beginning of humanity till the end of humanity, and eternity that lasts forever. And so everything in life will play out according to the Bible. Nobody knows nor the day nor the hour. So yesterday our word was watch, and that we need to be awake because we don't know when this time is going to come, and will be time to go to heaven and meet the Father and see whether we wanted to decide to be in heaven for eternity or whether we chose something else. But I wanted to just ask both of you, I'll start on this side this time because I don't know how you're seeing it. the word childlike, to have childlike faith, what does that mean to you when Luke's talking about this? Like, things have not been revealed to the wise. They can't see them, or the learned. So like the teachers. So like sometimes the institution of the church, the people who get wrapped up in the mechanics.
I have my answer here.
Oh, well, see, as a host, but
I was ready.
understand.
He's doing that
I
for me.
had my answer. He just kept kind of helping me.
As an interviewer, I often have to just set it up so the person can think, because I never reveal my questions ahead of time.
Yeah, well, I was already there.
I'm getting right to you, ma'am.
Sorry.
But no, so the wise and the learned are closed off because they've gotten focused on other things, and so it's revealed to the childlike. So with that, Miss Libby Peterson, what is your thought on childlike faith?
The first word that comes to mind is joy. So when you were talking about childlike faith, I was immediately thought of my nieces in a variety of ages, in a variety of excitement. Then you were talking about Christmas and Advent, and just the excitement of Christmas when you're a child and the wonder it creates. Like faith, even as adults, and as you were talking about the wise and the learned, and sometimes they aren't so childlike in their demeanor.
Childish.
Yeah, they sometimes when they're not childlike in their demeanor, it, like when you become an adult, you get this sense of seriousness about, my faith is so serious, and we lose almost that joy, like that childlike joy and excitement of really what God is speaking and telling us how to live in our life. And so we get caught up in I have to have the right answer. Whereas if you ask a kid like who Jesus is, they're going to probably just tell you like, oh, I don't, he's my friend. Like they're not going to think I play with him, whatever. So, but you ask an adult who Jesus is and they're like, well, he was the savior. He's the son of man. Blah, and they give you this like fancy.
Which is all true.
It is true, but it's more.
So here's the thing. Here's where our problem comes sometimes when it comes to faith. Everything is a both and. So it's like I just think about your answer, and it's like some people would be like, well, he is the savior. That's what you have to say. But then we forget that he's our friend, and it's like, no, he's both and. It's not like one or the other. It's not like Jesus is our friend or he's our savior. It's like we have a lot of answers. So no, it's true that they accept that, and that So sometimes,
and they don't overthink.
Sometimes I ask Jesus if he's my friend, and he still likes me. Sometimes when things happen, I'm like, do you still like me anymore? And he says no.
So and Amy and I have been doing Bible studies with women lately. That has been one of the things that has grown out of the pandemic.
Women do Bible study very differently than men.
It's very true. But anyway, one of the things that we talked about in Philippians and also in 1 and 1st and 2nd Peter was finding joy in your suffering. And so, and ironically, but not so ironic, there was a lot of suffering in that time frame when we were doing those studies, and just looking and trying to find the joy, and also rejoicing in it. The one night we had one of the women had this big banner behind her. It said "Rejoice," and we were all like, "We don't feel very rejoiceful about this." But those are the things where it helps us to remember that even in the trials.
I would say not taking yourself so seriously is like part of that. And Jesus laughed a lot with his disciples. Jesus, and he even tells them later in that thing, and then Aim, I'm going to go to you. You've had plenty of time. But in Luke's gospel that I was talking about, he says later to them, he says, turning to the disciples in private, he said, blessed are the eyes to see what you see. For I say to you, many prophets and kings desired to see what you see, but did not see it, to hear what you hear and did not hear it. Like if you have a close relationship and you allow Christ into your heart, you see things and hear things differently than anyone else.
And that is such a great segue to what I was going to say, because open was my word. So when you're talking about childlike faith, children are open to maybe new, I don't want to say suggestions, but when you talk about new concepts or new whatever. Moldable. Okay.
Well, but they're like when you open they don't have the right answer. Right.
They're open to receiving new ideas and new concepts. And sometimes you can find Jesus in a new way through a reading or, something, and have sort of a revelation of your own. But you have to be open to that. If you're not open to that and you're caught up in the details, like he's talking about the kings and the, learned men and all that kind of stuff. If you're, focused on the details, you forget to be open to new ideas. And then we get stuck into this idea of, well, we've always done it like this, right? Don't we always say that that's so frustrating that.
And then I want to say, have you always had that look on your face?
I'll have to remember that one.
I was just talking this weekend.
1 second.
Oh,
let me pause for a sponsor identification. For those of you just joining us, welcome to Coffee and Conversation. My name is Greg Wasinski. I'm here joined by Libby and Aimee. It is Giving Tuesday. We are doing an early segment. Peace be with you. I hope that if you're just tuning in, that if you've been a long time viewer or part of the Faith in Real Life community, that we're so grateful for you. So we're programming all day long. We're going to go ahead and put up a schedule of the live programming that we'll be doing all day. But it's also Giving Tuesday. So we ask that you share the ability for people to be donating to Let Me Be Ministries and the Faith in Real Life initiative. It's been a rough year. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. We don't get any funding from the church. We don't take grants from other churches. We do all of our funding as missionaries through donations. So you can either go to the wegivecatholic.org and search for Faith in Real Life and be part of that campaign, or you can go to faithinreallife.com and click on the donate button. Either way, the money gets to us. And we're so grateful, for real. It's we have done more in this year because of what the campaign did last year, allowing us to buy the video and audio equipment that we needed. We had no idea, but God did. God always walks before us. And that's just what we were talking about, that Aimee was saying, that if we're open and moldable in this childlike faith, that God can do things with us that we aren't necessarily always willing to let happen. And I think that that's true. And that's what Advent is about. Advent is about the opportunity to say, I have lost so much of my own innocence, so much of my own trust in faith. And I've gotten jaded by the world. I've thought more about what I don't have than what I do have. And so we start with Thanksgiving to recount about what we do have. And then we need to carry that through in a season of preparation to say, am I worthy to have that stuff? Am I worthy to be blessed with Christ in my life, who came into the world as a baby so that people could see the beauty of this childlike existence, that he didn't come to earth as a know-it-all. He didn't come to earth as coming out in the Bible as another prophet in middle age. He came out into the world through a virgin, through Mary, who took a long journey, very pregnant, very uncomfortably pregnant, with a guy who evidently didn't talk, because they didn't give him any words in the Bible. He's very worried and didn't say anything, but very trusting. But I joke, but that's so much of what we as a ministry. Now, here's 3 of us, right? This is just part of the Let Me Be Ministries team, but we've been blessed with so many different volunteers and people throughout the year who have donated time and who have helped with different events. And normally we have our annual fundraiser, and that's probably one of the most fun times we get to experience, because so many help out getting ready for that, except this year we didn't get to do it.
But we had a lot of fun doing what we did back in April.
What did we do?
For the we did basically a day of giving this.
We did this only longer.
Yeah. And it was continuous.
Yes, it was continuous. It was a little crazy, but it was so fun looking back on the day. We didn't even know what we were getting into. We didn't know what 12 hours of live programming would be. We were able to fill up the time with friends and volunteers, and other ministers like you who travel around and some sing and some tell stories. And I'm thinking back now, I'm just like blown away and overwhelmed with the generosity of people and their time. I mean, obviously at that time in April, we had nothing but time.
Yeah.
but looking back, that was probably my next favorite thing.
Yeah.
I should replay that John and Gotti concert today.
Yes,
oh yeah, that was so good. As we were talking, I was thinking like, a couple thoughts, but my one thought, Greg, is
Oh, are you interviewing me?
no, I was going to tell you I was going to give you a compliment. Are you ready for it?
I'm never ready.
One of the things that you do so well, as like the leader of the ministry with the vision, is you see other people's gifts and encourage them to use them. So, if you know me personally and you've had like a face-to-face conversation with me, I could talk to anyone. And the very first day that Greg had said to me, "Oh, could you host Coffee and Conversation?" I was like, "No, I cannot. I can't do that. No, I can't do that."
I had the same thing.
And same
reaction.
And I was going to say, Amy, and I know that also Carrie and Millie, because you have a very natural gift of talking to the camera. And so in any of the recordings or any of the other video projects we have done before COVID times, you were just so natural. And like you put a camera in front of me and I'm like, I can't talk, which is hilarious if you know who I am. But you never, like for all of us, you just said you can do it. And you believed in us and you knew that we would do it. And more and more, the more you do it, it's like anything. The more you learn a skill, the better you get.
Well, but thank you.
Thanks for pushing us out of our bubble. And
thank you for the compliment. But it's true, and it's the same thing with anybody watching. Like, there's like nothing special about what I do for a vocation. I mean, God's blessing is special, but as a child of God, we all have the ability to do it, to be willing to fail. Or I fail a lot more than I win. I mean, that like behind the scenes, like we always joke that on my tombstone, it will say, "Here lies Greg and all of his big ideas," right? So I fail a lot more than I win. A lot of people get to see me win in public, but they don't see like a lot of the stuff that fails, or, the things that I screw up on, I delete. But everybody watching, like you're watching right now, and that might be partly because God just had you come across this to say this morning, like, I need you to challenge yourself today, and I need you to extend a hand to somebody else that really needs tender eyes or a phone call, or that is being the hands and feet of Christ. 1,000 people or 10 people or 2 people. It doesn't matter, that we have the ability to grow the kingdom by simply being who God. There we are. We're back. Sorry, we were back for a second. I was like, oh boy, it's buffering.
Hey, but I was listening so intently, I didn't get to say good morning, Ted and Adam and Sonia.
Yeah, and Dan.
Whoever's up.
Dan Office up there.
Yeah.
Thank you for your donations this morning. Those of you that I see some names up there that already gave to the We Give Catholic campaign and our giving day on
while we were sleeping.
Tuesday. Some of you are monthly supporters already. Thank you for those of you that give monthly, and we pray that you're proud of the work that we do, and as much as we work for God's kingdom, we work for you because you're part of the ministry as well. So thank you. But we were just talking about all of our gifts and all of our ability to be disciples, and we find God sometimes in our lives by being strong for somebody else. It isn't like that. God always comes to us when we need him most, or when we feel that we need to have him in our lives and say, hey, I'm God, I'm Jesus, here I am. How you feeling? Sometimes God comes to us through the person who is broken. And then we find God because we let him fill us. because we open up our hearts in a new way with compassion and love and grace. And that lets Jesus fill our hearts, and it calms our own fears and our own problems and everything that we do. So I just encourage you this morning that even if you don't know all the scripture verses, even if you don't know all the tradition or the teachings of the church, that doesn't mean that you can't share a childlike faith to trust that God can do things with you that you never could imagine.
Hey, who's your Simon?
I have a couple.
Greg's famous question.
Jeff Stinson's been a good Simon of mine. Actually, Jeff Stinson, who I just said, will be on at 10 a.m.
That's right.
today. We're talking about faith in the workplace. Jeff has been a good friend of mine for years, and we lead Bible study together. But Jeff, throughout the whole retreat center debacle, I'm sure I'll name some other people throughout the day, but just as you say that, like him and Phil, Phil, a couple guys that as I was falling apart, that they were like, we got this. Yeah. How about you? Are you going to cry?
No, I would say right now, my friend Kristen.
You have a couple friends.
I do have a couple friend Kristen.
So just leave it there.
Both Kristens, actually. Honestly, I would say both Kristens at the time. Just I'm just thinking in the last couple months, that would be.
So the question that we're talking about, who is your Simon? And when I talk about that, what I mean is that who is the person that is in your life right now to help you carry a cross, just as Simon was chosen to help Jesus carry his cross. So every day there's a Simon in our life, and we need to think about who those people are. So who's your Simon? She's like, I knew you were going to ask me who my Simon is.
Well, I've had a few Simons throughout the year.
It's like the Oscars.
Are we talking about recently? Like
in
the
just
last
like
few
right
months?
now. Yeah,
Or
like right in
like
this instance today. Like today.
I would say
all the other Simons lose out today.
Who's today's?
I mean, I've had different Simons throughout the
Sure
year.
we do.
Like we
I
have different
have
people.
so many I could tell you. Like
Right.
I could write a book. I should write a book called
You should.
These Are My Simons.
Hey.
Yeah.
There
If
you
anybody
go.
else writes that before me, I'm coming.
You shouldn't have said the title.
Yeah. Well, you can change.
So who is yours
I'm not
today?
jazzed on the title.
Okay,
You can
so
change
for
it.
me today, I would say Pam has been a wonderful Simon in the most recent time of my life.
That's good.
Yeah, that is good.
Pam
Yeah.
is lovely.
Mhm.
Pam is lovely.
No, Pam, as I
She
say, Pam's
is.
very cool.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
no, but they do change. I mean, because our needs change. And
Right.
quite frankly, if somebody had to be if I only had one Simon in my life,
Yeah, that would be pretty tough.
dude would be laid out and been like, I was crushed years ago because, yeah, right.
I'm your all.
This is
the
all died.
Did you wait? So I mean, we're assuming
We
that
did.
everyone knows who Simon is that we're referencing.
I did. I said Simon who carried the cross for
Oh,
Jesus.
okay. I must have been thinking about something else. I missed that
She was
part.
formulating more of her answer.
She's worked with me for 10 years. She stopped listening to 2/3 of this stuff that I
Well, it's funny you even say that because when
said. Because I quit.
when we were on the road,
I'm out.
when we would travel and be on the road a couple years ago, actually just like last year, it feels like a couple years ago, one of our friends said to me, "Do you always laugh at his jokes?" And I was like, "Well, they're still funny." Even though like I've heard
Even at 6 a.m, folks, they're still funny.
I'm like, even though I've heard like the Pope joke many times, I still laugh, but I partly because A, it's funny, and B, when the audience laughs, I like
So if you've
appreciate the
never
humor
been
of that.
to one of my live presentations, I have told, oh gosh, man, the secrets I give on the show. Good morning, Angela and Adam. Peace be with you if you're just joining us. I have told the same joke on the opening night of a 3-day mission for 8 years. Now,
Has it been that long? 8 years you've told that joke?
yeah.
Yeah.
And every year I go, I got to get rid of the Pope joke. Like, I want to tell a different joke. But people laugh so hard at the Pope joke, I can't get rid of it.
That's true. We have had this conversation. It was like a year ago, 2 years ago, and Greg was like, I got to find a different joke. I'm like, but it's so good. People
Yeah.
love it.
Well,
And if
it
you're
illustrates
watching-
it illustrates the point that you like to open with?
Now, I know that some of you are watching and you're like, I've never heard the Pope joke.
Oh,
So
boy.
if we can get to $500 of fundraising this morning.
Ooh. By what
By
time?
By what time is it? I don't even know.
It's 6:35.
If we can get to $500 by 7:30 this morning, when I am live with Carrie Ann Ford on Coffee and Conversation at 7:30, I will tell the Pope joke. So like blast it out. Like we need to get
All right.
to $500 of fundraising by 7:30 this morning.
Tell your friends. Tell your friends.
And I will tell the Pope joke. Oh yeah, that's another thing. Like you might be like, hey, I don't have any dough. I'm like, hey, we're in the same boat.
Yeah.
But
Come into our boat.
but you can share this and you can share the link. We'll put up the link for the WeGiveCatholic.org page. That'll make it very easy for people to get to, or they can just go to Faith in Real Life and donate there. But please share it. Like it would be so like, if we had some, everything goes viral in the world. Like if I took my frying pan and smashed myself in the face, I get like 1.6 million views. If I tell people something that can save their life and help save their soul for salvation, I get like 3. So, but if we could make it go like viral, like everybody could give like 20 or $50, and then if 1 million people gave it, we'd be set for a long time. But we would do amazing things. But you know, we're not going to get to.
We have a lot of big ideas.
Here lies Greg.
Jesus is like, here's the board. Yeah, here's the bar. Not 1 million, Greg. But no, we've, 80% of our funding since we've been around has all come from live presentations. And so this year, especially, it was tough. We did our fundraiser in April and we were like, hey, this will get us to the fall when we can get back on the road. And then the fall came. So this is kind of our year end.
We all thought, everyone thought that COVID would just be gone by August. But
holy crud, there was a giant snowplow that went by. We got about 6 inches of snow overnight. This is our first big snowfall.
Yeah,
so I just looked out our big window and there's a lot of snow outside.
You know what? It was nice when I was waking up at 4:30 this morning.
What was nice about waking up at 4:30 this morning, Libby?
Well, when my alarm first went off, it was not nice. But then as I was kind of waking up, you could hear the stillness of the snow.
I love that. I love that when I'm outside shoveling.
Yeah.
It's so
You mean when
quiet.
no one's driving by?
Yeah. And you could tell that it was so still because then I faintly heard a car go by. But it was like not the whoosh, like flying by the street. It was that like, it was just still. And it was nice. It was peaceful.
I love the snow. I know people are like, I hate Cleveland weather. I'm like, you've lived here most of your life. So here's where we're at. It is 6:37. We're doing this early in the morning.
Yeah, this is the early, it's like the news shows.
Yeah.
So we have the early edition of Coffee and Conversation.
Yeah, here we
And
are.
then we
that
have
stuff that
Coffee
I'm-
and Conversation.
that
Then we
stuff-
have the late edition of Coffee and Conversation.
Yeah. And then we're going to keep going all throughout the day.
The
So
news.
keep watching.
We're
So
like the
here's
news.
here's a little bit. So any of my Coffee and Conversation, I'm going to say something, and I want to see, like those of you that normally watch Coffee and Conversation, I'm going to see if you get the right answer. I'm about to say something, and you can tell me what this means. Okay, my coffee is cold. Let's see if anybody knows what that means. My coffee, it's like a quiz show. My coffee is cold. If you can tell me what that phrase means on Coffee and Conversation, you are going to get 10,000 life points, and you can use those
Or-
any way you want.
Actually, they
Wait,
could
doesn't
get
it just mean your coffee, you need more?
No.
You need a refill?
No.
I
Hold on,
don't even
Grasshopper.
know.
While they
Sorry.
think about that answer,
as
at
I say-
7:30,
Oh, 7:30.
I will be live with Carrie Ann Ford. She's going to start out Tea Talk. We're in different locations of the country. We're coming together live. Yeah,
You
actually
did
live.
that a couple times with Carrie and with Michael.
Yeah, I know, but this is different.
Yeah.
This is
You
different
know what?
technology.
Oh,
Well,
Let me
okay.
finish.
Oh, I was going to say we've gotten better.
Yeah,
at
we
our
have.
tricks.
Well, don't say that because then it goes out. So
Don't jinx it.
7:30,
Pray
Carrie
for-
Ann Ford,
pray
10
for
a.m.
technology.
I'm with Jeff Stinson.
Mhm.
12 o'clock, we have a new podcast that we're actually doing live
Mhm.
today on air. We're talking about Advent and something else. I can't remember the other thing right now.
go with that.
2 o'clock, Libby is talking with some of you on this morning, as well as some other people that have been part of our Coffee and Conversation community since March. 4 o'clock, I talk with Father Max Cole, my friend and our pastor. 6:30, we have Brian and Stephanie McCarty from Thrivent coming on. They're going to talk about finances and faith, and what an amazing company Thrivent is. And I want to thank them. They are the sponsor for today that is making this broadcast all day long responsible.
Responsible?
What? Possible.
Responsible? That's a new word. I think you just created a new word.
Let me explain this to you.
I will say Thrivent, they have been a blessing of 2020.
Oh, wow.
Huge
Yeah.
blessing.
Not even just financially a blessing, but the relationship with Brian and Stephanie
Yeah.
Yes.
has been a tremendous gift to all of us.
Yeah.
In fact, and again, that was just a supporter of our ministry who knew them and making that connection. That is so key in the work that we do, is making the connection and sharing what we do with people that you think need it or know you need it.
As a matter of fact, that was our volunteer of the year.
Yes, our volunteer.
Bob Reisinger put
made
those,
that connection. So
yeah,
that
made
piece.
that
But anyway, okay, sorry.
Man,
I
bet
digress.
he's excited. What do you?
He is
Man,
excited.
we should have Sandy on. She was our volunteer of the year last year.
I know we should get our volunteers of the years.
I'm hoping, like, with all
together.
this snow, though, that like the people that are supposed to make it to the studio here
Yeah.
can make it to the studio. So
Well,
if not, we're going to use
say,
technology
yeah.
all day long.
Yeah, we
Look how many people wake up at 7. A lot of people must have their alarm set up.
You got to move Coffee and Conversation up to 6:30.
Yeah.
6:30. And then you're going to not have any hosts.
Yeah, I know.
Then no
Yeah.
one will host for
So
you.
thank you for joining us. I see many of you. Welcome to Coffee and Conversation. Let go, let
Early
God.
edition.
This is the
Be
mug.
still and know.
Nobody had. I was going to give
I
away
don't
a
have
good
anything
prize.
that says anything.
So
Wait, can
I
I?
said no. I have to finish.
Okay, fine.
So I said my coffee is cold. I wanted to know if any of the listeners knew what that meant that usually watch this. I'm going to tell you in a minute.
And I watch, and I don't even know what
I
you're
know.
talking about.
Can I guess?
No, you cannot guess.
Ah,
So 6:30 is Thrivent Financial.
PM.
Although they're not Thrivent Financial anymore, they're just Thrivent. Brian and Stephanie McCarty are wonderful people. 8 o'clock tonight, if you want to let anybody know, 8 o'clock tonight, I'm doing a live presentation on where faith and real life come together. A great presentation, especially for all of us to have the reminder about living our faith, but especially for those who may not be attending church or may have walked away, or somebody in your life that you love that really needs the love of Christ but hasn't been around. 8 o'clock tonight, I'll be broadcasting that, God willing. And then 10 o'clock tonight, we'll do a final edition where our faces won't be so bright and cheery. And I probably will be in my pajamas at 10 o'clock.
Take,
Hey, we'll have 2 hours to go. At
yeah,
that
take
point.
a picture of us now. We're bright and cheery and coffee. And then you're going to see us tonight
Yeah.
at from 10 to, we have our coffee. We might have coffee at 10. From 10 to midnight, you'll
I'll
get us
have the
back.
same.
You'll get the
Jeez.
3 of us back.
Well, so like I was looking here on the camera, and that eye stuff that I buy for the bags under your eyes, I don't think it works.
If anyone has good eye cream, let us know.
Good morning, Sonia.
All right, so
The weather outside is frightful.
It is.
Is it? Well,
Yeah.
be safe out
be
there
safe
driving.
for sure if you're in Cleveland.
So when I say the coffee is cold,
It means.
Libby, it means what?
We've been talking too long.
It's
We need
time.
to wrap this show up. And I also agree because I'm out of coffee and I was going to
Me
get up and
too.
get
I'm
more.
out of juice.
So
But my
yeah, so
coffee got
anytime
cold
I
and
say
it's-
my coffee's getting cold,
Yeah.
that means that it is time to wrap up the show.
Look, I just learned something. I did not even know that. You didn't tell me the code
26
words.
years. I love you so much. There's so much to
I
learn
didn't
from each
even.
other.
I didn't even know that. And I've been watching.
What's the other catchphrase of about your coffee when you're hosting, or any of your beverages of choice?
When
Tea
I'm going
or
to take a sip.
yes, Amy. she
That
got
I
it.
do know
I'm
because
gonna
we
take
joke
a
about
sip
that
of
all the
my
time.
coffee.
I'm gonna take a sip of coffee now, and what you think about that? And
We used to, like, you just naturally, you're like, hey, good morning to Coffee and Conversation. I'm going to take a drink of coffee. Why? Why do we do that?
You don't need to announce it.
And
It's
once
okay.
again, I'm reminded that my coffee is cold.
But
So
yeah,
hey, it is
we all
Giving
do it.
Tuesday. We're going to be back on. Libby will be back on hosting at 2. Amy will be back on hosting at 5. I did skip that.
I
It's
do.
Amy-
okay, because I don't know what I'm going to
But
say.
I have an idea.
Oh, God.
All right. So behind
well,
the scenes,
yeah.
we're going to talk about Amy's segment at 5. Tune in and see how Amy embarrasses herself at 5 o'clock
She's
on
not, it's
live
gonna be
online.
good. I know it's gonna be good.
But if you can give, please
That's
give.
funny.
Maybe you want to give 3 times today because you had nothing to do and you're like, I'm going to do this morning, noon, and night. I'm just having so much fun. But share with your friends. We'll put the link out on the Faith and Real Life community as well as the websites that you're watching
Mhm.
this on. And we're grateful for you. We thank God for all of you being with us this morning. I hope you have a wonderful day.
And stick around for 7:30.
Yeah, 7:30.
Conversation, the middle edition.
You don't have to sit in front of your computer for 45 minutes, but at
We'll see you back
7:30, Carrie Ann Ford will be welcoming me in.
Yeah.
She starts the show. So
Mhm.
love her. I miss her. And we're going to talk a little bit about the road trip that we had started and our tour last year that got cut short and talk
how-
about what we have in store for the future. So
Let's say, and how it's going.
Sonia, you are a wonderful donor. Thank you. God bless you. Thanks for being in my life, Sonia. Sonia and I met at a fundraiser, as a matter of
Mhm.
fact, raising money for a local radio station for the Catholic radio. And I just love how God works. So I'm going to leave it at that. God bless you. God keep you. Have a great morning. I'm going to attempt to shut off Libby's computer because I don't know how to do it.
Okay,
But one final word from Libby and Amy.
Thank you. Thank you for being you. Thank you for being our Simons when we need them and being on this journey with us because it's pretty awesome. So thank you for all that you do to support us.
One final word.
Well, you can give more.
Yeah, just
Kind of like a
As
thing.
let's say, grateful. I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for so many things this year, actually, even though 2020 has been pretty odd. I'm grateful for the support, though, for the ministry and for the work that you both do more than I do because
You have another job.
I have
Yeah.
another job, but that's okay because I've been grateful to be able to be a part of it this year more than I have been.
absolutely.
And tune in later. You might see King and Bailey, who are both sleeping right now.
You might see him over his